Hi, this is Muthu Sundaram again. Today we are looking at section 11 of the business incubation, mentoring, evaluation and benchmarking, part 2. As usual, please take 30 seconds to think about what you'd like to achieve end of this session. So I keep quiet for 30 seconds. Okay, let's proceed. Why do we need mentoring and evaluation? We've talked a little bit about the last time. Mentoring, evaluation, and benchmarking are sometimes seen as burden or marginal processes, but in fact, these actually help you to improve. As long as we keep checking, monitoring, evaluating, and benchmarking ourselves, we should be able to do better and better. Most incubators carry out such activities as part of their daily operations just to ensure they are getting better. So this is done by the better incubators. An incubator will often act as a catalyst for introduction and production of high quality products, processes and services in community. So we need to keep assessing these. So it's important to assess how significant is its role in the wider business world and how the incubator meets these needs, expectations, satisfactions of the stakeholders and client. So it's absolutely important to make sure we monitor, evaluate, and benchmark ourselves. The essence of monitoring and evaluation is to ensure by measuring the outcome, we will improve the input and in return, we'll be able to improve the outcome. So it's primarily a continuous improvement, what works and why. First thing, we need to get better qualities, better practices, business survival and growth sustainable. Jobs should get better, having better clients, more inquiries, better selections, better value reposition, increase in revenue and reinvestment. All these are important in terms of monitoring and evaluation. Benchmarking performance. Some of these numbers you need to understand. We can look at the profit margins, return on investment, the cycle time of obtaining number of incubators, number of startups, number of activities, percentages of defect, out of the products coming out of the incubator, sales per employee, cost per unit of production or services. These are some of the benchmarking performance you like to use as expressions in numbers so you'll be able to evaluate, because if there are no numbers you will not be able to evaluate. Now, benchmarking process. First, how do you develop your product or services? How do you manage these to meet customer orders or responses? And how do you order your products or services? All this will help you increase and drive performance in your. Now, benchmarking is a powerful tool used by managers. First, to help managers, you have to ask yourself such questions. Does your business achieve the same level of profit as other businesses in the industry? So you need to ask yourself, is your incubator performing equally as well as the best incubators or better? If it isn't, you need to check why. Does your business spend too much or too little on rent, advertising, and wages? All this is important to find out. Is your business is your business performance as well as it should be? All this is crucial for you to check. Data. Benchmarking data can help your organization in many things. You need to calculate financial ratios, very important. Analyze performance. Compare the results achieved by businesses with other similar businesses. When we talk about businesses here, we're talking about your incubator. You need to ensure that conducting a what if analysis is important for all businesses, including incubators. Very, very, very important. Now, why do we use benchmark approaches in organizations? First, you'll be able to find out where you are and where you're going. This will help you measure and improve. And it will also identify your strengths and weaknesses so you can work on them and highlight opportunities so you can outbid your competitors. So all this is important for benchmarking. Very important. Now, benchmarking will support the business incubator management team. One, evaluating the incubation activity in the relevant area, identifying the weaknesses and the areas of improvement, identifying areas of excellence. So you need to look at good and bad so you know how to compete, and you need to be able to compare incubator activities and processes with others So it's important to make sure you check for the other incubators, and you need to identify best practices and facilitate their transfer in the incubator. So you need to be able to learn the good parts of your incubator. Now, types of incubation. First one, you call it internal operation, called internal benchmarking. So if you have multiple activities within your organization, maybe multiple incubators, multiple excellence centers, you may want to benchmark among yourself. Next, you'll benchmark externally, direct product competitors, called competitive analysis. Third, you'll benchmark against external functional operation or industry leaders, called industry or functional benchmarks. The last one is process benchmarking. So all these different types of benchmarking will help your incubator improve, get better. Each organization has different ways of benchmarking. So you need to have a tailor-made one for you. You need to choose the right benchmarking. You are an incubator. You don't go and benchmark yourself with co-working spaces or accelerators if you are an incubator. You benchmark with the right things. Involve the right people, people who know how to make assessments. These are critical successes. Have a common understanding of what is involved. Gain a thorough understanding of your own situation. Choose suitable partners. Turn ideas and information from visits to practical involvement. Manage the improvement. Remember that benchmarking is a continuous process. It's not only just for today, it will be for a long time. It helps your incubator improve. So you need to continuously keep doing this. Now, use of process models. They provide structure to identify where and how you're going to do this benchmarking. So you have common languages, understanding. So it's very, very important. A process model provides the basic framework for action. All types of variations are possible within that framework, and the process can be tailored to fit the specific requirement of an individual group and organization. So it's important to have a process model so you're consistent with your assessments and you get consistent outcomes. Now, requirement for a successful benchmarking model. First, as we have said earlier, you need to keep the model basic. Make sure it has logical sequences A, B, C, D. Make sure it's a clear model. Again, people describe it to others. Emphasize logical planning and organization. Develop a clear understanding of benchmarking customers' requirements. Identify who will be on the benchmarking team. Ensure there are adequate resources for the benchmarking team to achieve its goal. Use effective project planning tools and techniques. Develop specific information gathering tools prior to actual data collection. So you need to have a good understanding what information you're going to gather and what tools are you going to use for this. Establish appropriate business benchmarking protocols that define expected behaviors and outcomes to benchmarking partners. Use customer-focused benchmarking to provide direction and set of expectations related to information. So the requirement for successful benchmarking model is important. Now the five-stage benchmarking process. First, plan the activity. Next, form the benchmarking team. Collect the necessary data. Analyze and take action. It's very simple. If you miss any one of these, then your benchmarking process is going to fail. Now, planning the benchmarking activity. Make sure the number of entrepreneur training sessions you organize, number of participation attended, participation feedback, conversion rate to business ideas from attendant. So this would be a benchmarking for activities. Form the benchmarking team. The objective is to select, train, and manage the benchmarking team. First, the size of organization. Team will be influenced by the size and scope of benchmarking exercise. So depending how large your benchmarking is, so the number of people in the team will then decide how much the organization is prepared to spend, because people's times are important. They need to be maybe paid, taken away from other activities. So we need to make sure how many processes will you benchmark, and how many locations the organization operates from and wishes to benchmark at one time. So all this is important and crucial. Next thing, benchmarking activity will require a small group of people to outline the scope of the project. At the beginning, provide leadership and continue coordination throughout to the end. We need to have a wider involvement from a number of people with various skills to ensure these are done well. The preparedness to cope with the absence of people involved in benchmarking exercise day to day. So all this is important. Three types of benchmarking team you need. You need a team which will lead, you need a team which will prepare, and you need a visiting team. So these are types of teams required for benchmarking, as they will all play a different role. Now, leading team is mainly concerned with building and maintaining commitment at the benchmark. So their activity would be to provide leadership in decision on particular area, manage the process to achieve target on time and within budget, integrate the benchmarking process with other improvement activity within your incubator. So they are the lead team. Now, the key responsibility of the lead team, any consultation committee or some modification version of it already in exist, a cross section of functional skills to be applied. Direct workforce is important. People with authority to take the necessary steps. This is what your composition of your lead team should be. The preparation team. The role of the preparation team is to work within the focus defined by the leading team, which will give you for the single process. To carry out the detailed analysis and prepare, to help and identify partners, to have the representation on the benchmark visit, to analyze finding and design improvement plans. That is a preparation. The preparing team need to be able to take an overview of the process. They are benchmarking. First, the the natural work team of the process in question, the entire work group, including people from support function, suppliers, and customers. Very important. Now, the visiting team. The role of the visiting team is to carry out the benchmarking visit within the scope already been defined by the preparation team and to make sure they deliver to the preparation team their findings so they can implement. Required to train the visiting team as necessary for success of the benchmarking exercise. It's important to educate your team in benchmarking processes, in the use of analytic tools, in interpersonal skills, in questioning techniques, and familiarizing with the organization and background. So it's no point sending somebody who's not familiar with incubation to do incubation benchmarking. So they should have some knowledge in benchmarking in that area to identify your current performance, the process collection and review. So the information you already have processed, you might put it in a flow chart, look at customer feedback, measurements of the processes and procedure manuals. All this already would be available in your incubator. Sources of benchmarking partners. You use literature sources, trade professional association network, consultants, and major customers. These are some of the important aspects of benchmarking. Now, target incubator has agreed to benchmark visit. So you need to ensure, obtain agreement for target partner on the condition of the project, plan the visit, develop a visit, site visit, strategy and questioning, conduct the visit in a professional manner, return some value to your host, provide feedback to the host as well as thanking them for the opportunity because this way we're able to benchmark ourselves with whoever we visited. So it's important. Analyzing the data for performance gap. You need to look at the economy of skills. You need to look at the definition, the different aspects of management philosophy, incubation service and processes to be delivered, and the operation in overall of your environment. This would how you analyze your performance gap. The main challenges occurs when developing a monitoring and benchmarking system, how to build a holistic and robust, very important in your operations. Secondly, how to account for different types of incubators. Every incubator is different depending on the sector they're working on, types of startups they're looking at, the location they are. How do you guarantee the system will be applied by incubators in different development stages? That will also make a difference. As I said, geography makes a difference. The accuracy and consistency of data you collect and the mechanism you would employ to identify and transfer good practices. How to guarantee all the data would be kept confidential because you don't want to be throwing your data out everywhere. So it's important. How to guarantee that the monitoring and benching system would be continuous improvement without jeopardizing the consistency of data collection. So the data integrity is very important, how you collect others. So it's important and crucial. Now the main stages of a monitoring and benchmarking system is first you have to have the self-evaluation of your own incubator, then you analyze the data and then you do a due diligence. So these are the main stages. How do you implement best practice benchmarking? Establish the difference in your client's eye between an ordinary incubator and an excellent incubator. So that's how you would start to change. Setting standards in each of those things according to the best practices you can find out how the best incubators meet these challenges standards. So you really need to look at outside to learn and how you benchmark. You need to benchmark with the best. You can't benchmark with the lousy ones. You need to benchmark with the very best ones. So you might even have to travel outside your geographical location to find the better incubator, applying both other people experience and your own ideas to meet with new standards. So these are some of the important things which an incubator will need to do during its benchmarking best practices. Gains made from this. You have to have better understanding of clients and other incubators, fewer complaints and more satisfactory clients. So this would be the gain by doing this. Reduction in waste, quality problems, fair and fast awareness of important innovations and how they can be applied. A strong reputation within your marketplace because people know that you are benchmarking with the finest and the best. So it's very, very important that you do this. As a result of all this, increases performance, profit, and sales turnover. This is what you gain from having a benchmarking exercise. Now, main requirements for benchmarking practices includes a strong commitment from top management, a small amount of training and guidance for employers who have to gather the information needed for these exercises, and authorize employees to spend some time on benchmarking activities. So all this is important. Now, making best practice benchmarking work for incubator. There are 6 key steps to do this process. First of all, you need to know what you are going to benchmark, against what, and how do you collect this information, how do you analyze the information you collected, and how would you use, and how does this benchmarking take you in the longer run. So the whole idea of doing benchmarking is to get better. So if the last part is not working, then the others are all absolutely no use to you. So that is something you want to make sure you don't make a mistake. Now, what is next? As usual, identify your key takeaway from my lecture. How does it relate to you? And the most important in our activity is to ensure how we translate this to others. So this is a very important thing you need to do. As always, we have made references to the InfoDev Business Information Toolkit. So we acknowledge that while making this slide. And thank you for your participation as always. You know how to contact me. My email is muthu.sungram@viberzone.com. My telephone number is there. And you can pick up some of my books on Amazon. And you know my YouTube channel because you're watching this on it. Please share the YouTube channel with others. And you think we can improve on our channel, please reach out to me. And if you'd like to be part of our channel, also reach out to me. We would be happy to host you on our channel. And once again, thank you very much for listening. I'll be back next week with another session. Thank you for listening to me, as always.